Alright, this is Nation's Voice Tower, your most preferred YouTube channel. My name is Angelo, your anchor, and we're here with lots of updates today. Now, following what happened yesterday in Chicago, and following how the Chicago State University really replied or responded to the subpoena that involved the availing of Bola Ahmed Tinibu's results and all that, I have decided to take a brief expose. I decided to take a physical sort of documentary through interviews with people who have worked with this particular school for a long while. And I noticed that there is something off. There is something off about this Chicago State University. And no wonder that Bola Tinubu emerged from there, if actually he went there. And because I took this to be of interest, because a school with such a location is supposed to be known for dignity and straightforwardness. But them coming out yesterday to reply the way they replied actually gave me or actually sprung up something in me, and I had to research. Now, there has been I really noticed that there are many, or there has been many fraud cases in Bola Tinubu's Chicago State University. Yes, because only a school that has lots of fraud cases would be able to close or to hide the secret of somebody who actually doctored his result, like in the case of Bola Tinubu. Now, after my documentary and after my compilation, this is what we've got from different sources. Chicago State University, or Chicago State as a university, has been awash in friends hiring friends. That means the university has been known for friends hiring friends for some time now. And only in recent months have we seen evidence that this might be starting to change. The cronyism and backdoor dealing has been present for the better part of 2 decades, if not longer. That means it's been long that the Chicago State University has been partaking in illicit dealings, collecting of bribery, of bribe, and then doing all sorts of things in order to meet up to different clients. Now listen, this particular dealing has been present for the better part of 2 decades now, if not longer, but really hit a peak in the past 10 years. One Leon Finney is about to undergo a federal investigation for fraud and other charges presently. Finney was the director of Chicago State University's Board of Trustees as recently as 9 years ago. Please pay attention so you will know how much fraud or how much of an involvement Chicago State University have in different corrupt practices. Because they are outside Nigeria doesn't mean they are devoid of corrupt practices. Hence the reason why they have been identified to associate with Bola Tinubu. Now, Finney was responsible for hiring one Wayne Watson as the school's president in 2009, despite Watson's history of alleged misconduct while serving as chancellor of the City Colleges of Chicago. Listen, Watson was hired because the previous president, one Miss Elnora Daniel, was fired for using her university credit card for personal purchases. Can you see how the generation or the genealogy of fraud cases or fraudulent cases are coming up throughout the last 10 years in Chicago and the last 20 to 30 years? Watson falsely accused 2 Chicago State University trustees falsely of misconduct when they attempted to replace him in 2013. And it worked because the governor didn't renew their positions and Watson's contract was extended instead through the end of 2015. Watson was later found guilty of his false accusations from 2013, as well as causing Chicago State University to lose a 2014 lawsuit to the tune of $4.3 million when he threatened the school's general counsel to not release unflattering information about the school publicly. This school has been known for fraud for a very, very long time now. I read furthermore, Watson's replacement, one Mr. Thomas Calhoun Jr., was fired 9 months after he was hired. Nobody knows why, but he received a $600,000 severance check. They settled out of court on another whistleblower lawsuit in 2017 to the tune of another $1.3 million. Zaldwynaka Scott, that is the name of somebody, Zaldwynaka Scott, has been the school's president since July of 2018. Now, she was also one of the board members that Watson got replaced via false accusations in 2013. That is one of those two people that were sacked in 2013. In 2011, a state audit from that same university or from Chicago found 41 problems with financial accounting at the school. And this is the same department or faculty that Bola Tinibu came out from, including failure to bill students for tuition, federal grants misspent, and overpayment of vendors. That included misspending some of the $614,000 in grant money the state gave to the pharmacy program. School officials invoiced the state for food, utilities, humidifiers in the library, and advertising, all unrelated to the pharmacy program, and this amount of money went down the drain. In 2017, the interim dean of the College of Pharmacy was charged with stealing a total of $650,000 from the Student National Pharmaceutical Association for her own personal use. This school is a compilation or a conglomeration of fraudulent cases. Now, last year, they just wound up giving a $694,000 severance check to one Angela Henderson after she became interim provost. So, that means anybody involved in this school actually has been involved in crime or fraudulent cases. Now, according to one Nicholas Lewis, he said that the same Angela Henderson, after she became interim provost and given $694,000, faced charges of plagiarism and was cleared of wrongdoings, but she was removed from her job anyway afterwards. That means from the beginning, from the early 80s and the late 70s till 2018, 2019, this school has been known for fraudulent cases. And this is the same school that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinibu claimed to have attended. The same school who are also on course to cover up his lies and to cover up his alleged forgery and plagiarism. Well, we'll continue to speak. I just brought this documentary so that you will be able to fathom the fact that there is a big difference and there is a reason why Chicago State University has a big question mark on it. Hence, the reason why they could not really stand for the truth and justice in yesterday's lawsuit. Now, secondly, there is problem in the APC, the All Progressive Congress, after appointing Alhaji Abdullahi Ganduje as a chairman, have encountered big problems. Now, recall that one of the ministerial nominees, now minister-designate, Dr. Betta Edu from Cross River State, was formerly the woman leader, the national woman leader for the APC. Now, having vacated that position to claim her ministerial position, the vacant or the position of national woman leader is now vacant. Now, according to the stipulated rules and constitution of the APC, because of minority sake or minority population sake in the party, and for even distribution of geopolitical zones, the slot for the national woman leader has been reserved for people in the South, preferably Cross River State and Akwa Ibom State respectively. Hence the reason why Dr. Betta Edu, who is from Cross River State, made that position and was that a woman leader for a couple of time now. Now, having left that position, lots of members from the APC are trying to occupy that position, women to be precise. In fact, news reaching us says somebody from Edo State wants to come in. This is the reason why the National Working Committee and lots of chieftains from Cross River State and Akwa Ibom State visited Abdullahi Ganduje in his office in Abuja to give these complaints. There is war in the APC. Not until a woman leader is appointed, this war will continue. Listen to their grievances.
Eba Esquire JP is my name, APC chairman in Cross River State. I'm here with our senior stakeholders led by distinguished Senator Dame Tagiwa, Florence Tagiwa. You are all aware that yesterday the NWC came out of a meeting and against due process for the office of National Woman Leader, which hitherto was occupied by Dr. Betta Edu, now was purported to have been zoned to Edo State in absolute disregard to Article 31(5) of the APC Constitution, which is our guiding rules. But in a civilized democracy, aggrieved persons can only channel their grievances through appropriate quarters. And today we have come to the national chairman to inform him of this infraction. We have also written to Mr. President to say that the national woman leader position is commonly shared between Cross River and Akwa Ibom. Edo and Delta presently have an NWC position, which is the National Public Secretary. You cannot take our position and overreach us by over-enriching Edo State. And by the grace of God, the national chairman has assured us to be patient, that this matter will be resolved. Our governor is leaving his holiday and vacation to return back so that we can resolve this issue. We don't want trouble. Cross River State is the only APC state in the entire South-South. We are providing leadership. We don't want trouble. And we use the opportunity to appeal to every Cross Riverian to know that this matter will be resolved amicably. That is the assurance.
A lot of people are saying that you're going too far because you have 2 ministers on the present cabinet, and there has been a rejig of the zoning formula of the party's executive. How do you react to this?
They are comparing the incomparables. Government position has nothing to do with party position. It is the APC constitution that guides issue of zoning. It is a Nigerian constitution that guides issue of ministerial. Most states in the South-South have had 2 ministers before. We are only lucky that for the first time, Cross River State has now had 2 ministers, and we are thankful to Mr. President who found them worthy. But this cannot take the place of our rightful entitlement. As I've explained, you are taking woman leadership from Cross River Akwa Ibom to go and add to Edo Delta that already have public secretary and assistant treasurer and other NWC position. That is like robbing Peter to pay Paul. And this is a party of equity and justice. And injustice cannot stand. And we trust in the perspicacity of Mr. President. He will not allow this to stand.
Okay, I told you some time ago that lots of parties, or every party, actually experience internal crisis. The Labour Party will soon be done with theirs, if not done. And then the APC and the PDP are still having their own. So we'll continue to watch them to see how competent these leaders in these particular parties are, so that they'll be resolved swiftly and with immediate alacrity. Please, our viewers should like our videos, share them. Don't forget to drop your comments in the comment section. And if you're watching me for the first time, tap the subscribe button, and as well tap the notification bell too, so that we'll always link up anytime I'm dropping a new video. Finally, there has been an issue. Nigeria has been dropped from BRICS. Nigeria as a country has not been called to BRICS. Do you know what BRICS is? B-R-I-C-S. BRICS is an acronym for the powerful grouping of the world leading emerging market economies. Now, this particular BRICS is made up of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Now, Nigeria has failed to get called up to this particular group, which is a problem, because if they can't identify the giant of Africa in such a big economy-related group or society, and South Africa is already there, that means there is an issue. Now watch this video. I have one Professor Abiodun Adeniyi, who is a Deputy Dean, Postgraduate School based University, Abuja. Now he actually had this thing to say about the reason why Nigeria was not called, although he described it as quite shocking that Nigeria wasn't called. But there is a reason. After his own speech, I will give you a brief explanation so you'll understand. Stay tuned.
Well, it was quite shocking that we're not on the list of those invited, but I think that if it doesn't come now, it will definitely come later, because there's no way they can continue to ignore the largest economy in Africa, the most populous black nation on planet Earth, and one with the biggest potential, the biggest promise, and of course with so much signs that growth, will continue at some point. There might be some reasons, not too far from politics, that is probably making them to take decisions. Do not forget that politics manifests at the international level, oftentimes, but it might be marked in different guises. But over time, it will get exposed, and maybe we'll continue at the level of diplomacy, at the level of lobbying, and will get admitted, because it's not a bloc that we can actually ignore, considering the narrative they are trying to change, the dominance of the Western power in global economic configuration. They're changing that narrative, and it's important that we belong to it, especially with the moribund nature of the non-alignment, as the case could be. So it's a matter of time. I think we do not have any option now, but just to keep calm. We cannot afford to be aggressive or confrontational, but just to continue the lobbying, diplomacy, and at some point they will consider us.
As we do that, speaking of which, the big news also in Nigeria has to do with the NBS, Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, and many people are still talking about that dramatic drop in unemployment in the country.
It's not a dramatic drop, really, and that's why people need to understand it very carefully. People need to read the report, digest it properly, and appreciate what I think the agency has done. What the agency has done is simply to change the methodology for computing the unemployment and underemployment figures in the country, compliant with ILO recommendation, compliant with World Bank recommendation, and in sync with what other African countries have done, 26 African countries. What they have done is to expand the range of those that will classify as unemployed. Before, it used to be, if you are unemployed, which means that if you are unemployed, it means that you don't have opportunity to work for even 1 hour, in a day, or 1 hour in a week or so. So they've changed that now. If you work 1 hour, you are classified as employed. Subsistence farmers are now included. Then, of course, they've removed the upper limit. Before, if you are 64, and whether you are working or not, you are not in that bracket of those who are considered as employed. But now that upper cap has been removed. So before, it used to be between, if you are between ages 20 or so and 64, but now it's between ages 15 and 64 and above. It's been made to include consultants, retired people who do one kind of job or the other, and probably work for 1 hour and earn a lot of money. Those days, before now, those ones were out of their bracket. But
okay, you've heard it from the professor there, and I will tell you what, high level of unemployment and a high rate of non-budget compliance in Nigeria might be the reason why Nigeria is yet to be called to the BRICS, and this is bad. Under Bola Ahmed Tinibu, there is nothing that we would not experience. So let us see what happens over the course of time, because according to the professor there, if they are not called into BRICS now, they will be called later, maybe lobby their way in or thereabouts. So let's keep our fingers crossed that Nigeria gets called into BRICS. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye.